I'd like to share with you a combination of stories that really summarize into one idea about the role of Puerto Rico in tropical biology and so forth. If you go to the National Forest in Puerto Rico, to El Yunque National Forest, which is also known as the Luquillo Experimental Forest, we have a tower that is used by tourists. It's the Yokahu Tower. And whenever we have visitors, we take them to the Yokahu Tower. And from the Yokahu Tower, you can see the National Forest, and you can see the coast of Puerto Rico, and you get a perspective of the ecosystems of the Luquillo Mountains. And I've had a number of experiences in those towers with different visitors that give me their honest reactions when they look at them. Some of them I'll name by name because, and others I don't because I don't really remember all of their names. But Gary Harshon, who's a famous tropical biologist, known to everybody in ATBC. Well, Gary Harshon, when I took him there, he was in awe of what he saw, and he said, in a moment of weakness, he said, "Oh, I didn't know you had all these forests in Puerto Rico. I always thought that Puerto Rico was just, traffic jams and, and trashy places." So Harshon was awed at what he saw of the Luquillo Mountains. And then I went up with Mark Harmon, who made his fame studying the gigantic sequoia forest in the Pacific Northwest. And he looked at our forest and he said, "Oh my goodness, your trees are so small." And of course he had in mind the sequoias, and sequoia might be 300 feet, 400 feet, and our trees are maybe 100 feet. So for him, this is a puny little forest. And then I went with another biologist who was used to the complexity of Central America, continental forests, South American forests. "Oh, but your forests, they're so simple because we don't have as many species as they did." And I have to confess, every time I take a visitor and they make these comments to me at that tower, you sort of feel ashamed because I'm a Puerto Rican and I say, "Gee, I don't have sufficient species, my trees are too small, and my God, there's more than people think we have." But they all come to one thing, and that's what, after you keep studying this thing, and why are the trees small? Why don't we have species? Is it only because we are an island, or are there other factors involved? And of course, we have learned that the Luquillo Mountains are the recipient of many forces that have been shaping those mountains for thousands of years. One of the most important ones is the hurricanes. And of course, there are anthropogenic factors and all that, and we just finished writing a book about it, summarizing all our research, which demonstrate that each hectare of land, each hectare of tropical forest, is a reflection of the forces that impinge on them. The forces could be natural or could be anthropogenic. And so we don't need to feel ashamed for whatever hectare you have, whether you have little forest, medium forest, tall forest, diverse forest, or whatever types of forests you have, because each hectare is different. Each hectare is a reflection of natural forces. Each hectare is subject to natural selection and is developing ecosystems and functions that are beautifully adapted to the impinging factors. So no longer am I ashamed when I take people to the Yokahu Tower, because now I can explain why we don't have as many species, or why our trees are smaller, or I can explain how humans have deforested Puerto Rico, but how Puerto Rico has reforested since the times when we were known for having no forest. And so the key here is that as you interact with your friends and you show up your forest, that's a test to your understanding. And if you don't understand what you're looking at, then you feel ashamed by some of the comments. But as you learn more about it, and we've been learning a lot about the Luquillo Mountains, in fact, we think that those are some of the best known mountains in the tropical world. Now we can be aggressive with our visitors, and we can tell them why things are doing the things that they're watching them do. And so, such is life in the tropics.